One of the most interesting and honestly most important parts of this first episode of Loki was just that little short cartoon that Miss Minutes used to explain the formation of the TVA, because this set up so much for the future of the MCU, not only with the multiverse, but also possibly for the big event of Secret Wars, which has been rumored for a long time to be the next Avengers Endgame level movie event, which would be just absolutely insane, especially because the Russo brothers, who directed both Infinity War and Endgame, as well as Captain America the Winter Soldier and Civil War, have said that one of the movies that they would love to direct for Marvel is Secret Wars. So bring them back, because this looks like it's happening here, because in this little cartoon, Miss Minutes explains, again, the formation of the TVA, because the three timekeepers, they realized that long ago, there was this multiversal war. So then, to prevent this from happening again in the future, to prevent more Nexus events, they created the TVA to keep one sacred timeline in check, which already kind of makes me suspicious of the TVA, because they're saying that they got one sacred timeline, but at the same time, there's a multiverse, because literally one of the next movies is Spider-Man No Way Home, exploring the Spider-Verse, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. So I feel like the TVA is actually kind of lying to us, and they might actually be kind of more villainous than we thought, especially because you literally saw in their drawer of Infinity Stones, there were multiple sets of Infinity Stones in there, so that can't come from all just one sacred timeline. So that's something I'm already suspicious about, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Secret Wars and this multiversal war, because as I was saying, the TVA was formed to prevent another multiversal war from happening in the future. But the way they're setting it up here, you gotta know that there's gonna be another war in the future. It's just something that's gonna happen. And maybe we could even be caught in a time loop where there's always going to be another multiversal war. No matter how hard they try to prevent it, it's always going to be something happening in the future. And I think that would be pretty cool, especially because in the comics, the Beyonder is the one responsible for Secret Wars, because he's obsessed with all this stuff, with wanting to see all these multiversal characters battle it out and just be in all one place at one time, which is honestly just an awesome idea. Very destructive idea, but an awesome idea at that. So I think it would make sense if he was responsible for the first one and then came back all these years later to create another multiversal war, because in the comics, there actually was two different Secret Wars events. There was one back in either like the 80s or in the 90s where it was more of a simple one that wasn't really necessarily multiverse centered, and it was more so just like, they actually adapted it in the Spider-Man the Animated Series, where you just have a bunch of powerful villains from Earth and other planets, just from all over the place, all on this one planet, and then a bunch of superheroes all from all over the place, just all on this one planet, and then it's just this giant war between those two sides. So that's what the first one was about, but then there was another one years later, probably the main one that from the early 2000s, that was the actual multiversal Secret Wars event, where you had all these kinds of crazy multiple versions of Spider-Man and the Avengers and the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, and it was just insane. And there's some insane stuff going on here. But like I said, there's no way that they're setting this up here and telling us this story that it's not going to happen. This has got to be the next big event. And it could even be what causes Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. But I feel like maybe that movie will actually even be a stepping stone to get to the even bigger multiverse battle with Secret Wars. Now, another interesting thing I mentioned before is Nexus. Miss Minutes mentioned that Nexus events are what caused this multiversal war. And we know what Nexus is because back in WandaVision, Wanda Maximoff, aka the Scarlet Witch, was confirmed as a Nexus being. And Nexus beings are these all-powerful beings that are able to tap into the multiverse, just like we know Wanda can, and that's why she has this huge connection to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And with Wanda being a big character going forward in the MCU, it makes sense that they're setting up all these little things here to set up for this eventual future Multiversal War with Secret Wars, which would just be awesome because then we get some crazy things. Just imagine how insane this would be. People keep saying like, oh, there's no way they're going to be able to top Avengers Endgame. Well, if they do Secret Wars, then yes, they can. It's literally just this one giant battlefield on like this alternate planet where you have multiple versions of the Avengers, multiple versions of the X-Men, multiple Fantastic Four, Spider-Man. You got Silver Surfer in there, Adam Warlock, a bunch of villains. That's right, villains are teaming up with the heroes. With like Doctor Doom is in there. You got full-on God tier Doctor Doom with like his white outfit. I think Galactus even showed up at one point. And it's really just this insane battle that just sounds like just a whole bunch of fun. And if you want to go crazier than Endgame, this is how you do it. And again, it makes so much sense with everything we know that they are setting up in the MCU. But anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. Do you think this was a setup for Marvel's Secret Wars in the future of the MCU? And what do you want to see from this movie? So, anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video and hit the subscribe button so I can keep up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.